welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing amazingly well because this video is going to be deep, dark. So for this video I'm going back to my past. We're going to be talking about it and my mental health story. If you are going to get triggered, then just click off this video. So do click off this video as soon as possible because that's not my intentions. If you are struggling, there are anonymous phone lines and text lines which I will leave in the description. I will leave a range of them because I know not one can help but another one could be an alternative. So yeah, so I'm going to start off it back into primary school. So this is between 5 and 11. These are the years where I started to get bullied for my weight. Now I did stand out and I still do that I'm not the skinniest of people. I do highly struggle with my weight and that's always been a thing for me. However, my mental health didn't take a toll until about year 7. This is where I've moved schools, I've had a new group of friends, and towards the end of year 7, so in January 2014 my nan died, July 2014 my other nan died. Around July I also lost my best friend. We had a fight. We're good friends now. We're not best friends anymore, but we are good friends, so that's all that matters. Also around this time I started to self-harm. Also I just want to point out that during year 7 and 8 I wasn't the nicest of people. I said nasty things and I truly regret that. Also I just want to point out a lot of these year 7 and 8 are complete blur to me. I literally physically cannot remember anything I've done or did. Yeah, right, I don't remember an absolute thing. So if I've done something, I am sorry for it. So year 9 has been a complete big year for me. I went into the year with an online relationship. It lasted about 4 months. Go me. It was my first relationship as well. I don't know if you want to class it as a relationship, but yeah, that happened. I also had a great group of friends, which it didn't really end well. So around my 14th birthday, everything collapsed. So I broke up. My boyfriend broke up with me because he stopped loving me and everything, and I guess it was because of my mental health. But hey, I also fell out with all the friends that I had with. I'm not going to go into detail of who they were, what happened exactly, but just looking back, it was a bit pointless. It was stupid. Everything I said was stupid, and I'm sorry that we argued and everything. During that time as well, I also went into counselling. That was only 7 weeks. Bit pointless, but you know. And towards near Christmas, I also took my first overdose. It was everything was just overwhelming. Everything was just collapsing. It was a mess. I didn't tell anyone until about a year later. So yeah, no one knew about it. It was my biggest secret for such a long time, and now I'm telling the world about it. I guess the only reason I'm telling people now is because I'm a completely different person. So 2016, whoa, April 2016 I finally got seen by CAMS. I can't remember going to the doctors or anything about this, but yeah, I was seen by CAMS. I was put onto their assessment team, so I got to see a variety of people, and you know. April 2016 I took 2 overdoses on a Friday and a Monday. On the Monday, both days that my school found out, and on the Monday I was sent to A&E, but then discharged because there was no serious damage or done. Moving on to May, the same year, I took something. I ended up staying in hospital overnight, and then the day after I had a camera down my throat to see if anything had happened. Nothing had happened, so I was able to be discharged. Everything was going okay. It was May half term. After May half term, everything went again. I also, at this point, I had social services involved. So this was the only assessment sort of worker for 6 weeks, but lasted for 2 months, but okay. So that happened, and towards the start of July and the end of June, also my best friend Mary had moved away to live with her dad, but she was back by the time this thing was about to occur. So on the Tuesday of the week before July 2016, I took the thing that I took in May again. I went to A&E. I was discharged the same day. I did the same thing Friday. I was sent to A&E, discharged the same day, even though I had done a bit more damage. Then I lasted the weekend. I saw Tanya Burr. Yeah. Lasted the weekend and boom. Monday occurred. That was it. I was in hospital for 2 nights. Tube up my nose just in case I was sick because they didn't want it coming out of my mouth because I was so stupid. I know mental health is not stupid, and I don't know if I regret this or not, but it's just like an awful thing, and I don't know what I was thinking, but it happened, and I took something that I shouldn't have taken. It was really toxic, it's dangerous, and the reasons why I'm not going to tell you what it is due to the fact that I don't want anyone to copy my decisions. So I did quite a lot of damage. I was in there for like 3 days. I was discharged. I've never ever been sectioned. After that kind of occurred, I was part of this social services is a thing where so someone would come and see me like every single day for like a month, and they would do things. So the result of that is my bedroom got painted because one of the ladies that was with me was kind of the main one, was once a painter, so she helped me paint my room. Thank you for that. The diet I was put on was kind of awful. Like all I could eat was like soft food, so like I guess in some ways it was nice because summer ice cream, it was okay, but I used to like obsess eating Doritos and I couldn't do that, so that was kind of hard. And then in September I went for a checkup to make sure everything was okay, and everything was good, so that was good. November come along, after my London residential, everything slipped again. I was back in hospital once again with an overdose. I was put on a drug, and by this point I had a new social worker. I was seeing CAMHS fully because they kind of stopped during summer because I was seeing like this, I was part of this charity work, but they came back. I had a male key worker, however I didn't really like him or get along with him, so I had to like get a new one. As well, to about February 2017, I was seeing this lady like every week, and like she would take me to McDonald's, and this is kind of the times where I put on weight. I did not care what I was eating, and looking back I truly regret eating the way I did. So I was going to McDonald's like every Tuesday. I was just talking to her and everything, and then that finished in February. In January 2017, I got my new key worker, who was a female, who lasted through with me all the way to January 2018. So yeah, so January 2017, I took another overdose and was in hospital overnight. I also fell out with friends towards the end of the month, so I got some new friends. I guess during high school I kind of went from friendship group to friendship group, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like I'm glad I met a load of people, and I'm sorry that we fell out. So my favourite teacher was leaving. She was so caring, I adored her, and she left. Like she wasn't that good at teaching, but she was just like kind of the personality wise was a bit different. My camera just died when I was talking about that, but so I think I was up to the point of my art exam. So after my art exam I ended up in hospital, and I took another overdose. I can't remember the reasons why, but I stayed in hospital overnight. I was put on this sort of like, I had like a cannula in my hand, and I've had that before, where it's like to kind of make sure that the drugs that you take doesn't do a lot of damage to your liver. So that happened. A week later when I came back, I refused to sit all my science mocks because they were like a thing that you had to do, and I never did. Like, oops. About a week later I had intentions to end my life. I had it all planned out. I bought stuff. So I had like people tried looking for it. They couldn't find it. Like no one could find anything because I hid it so well. And that happened, and then so I stayed in hospital overnight, and the following day I was put into emergency foster care. I stayed with emergency foster care for one night because I wanted to go home. My mum was like saying that, oh, she's safe, we're safe, we can look after her. So they wanted me back as well, and that's the reasons why I went home as well. It was just a tough time. And then a few weeks later I fell out with friends. Like, I don't think you can go through high school without falling out with people. Like, it's completely normal too. So I fell out with people and that happened. I'm sorry if I keep like itching my face, like it's just kind of a really sensitive topic, and like I also have a cold. And then that happened, like, so moving on to year 11, it's kind of a mixed bag. I kind of got a bit picked on for having a YouTube channel. Well, guess what? I'm still here, so screw you. So moving on to year 11, it was kind of a stressful time, like GCSEs, grades, mean the world to me. I completely flipped. I used to not care about my grades, and during year 10 and then year 11 I was revising a lot, like too much in fact. So year 11 happened, I was getting picked on for a bit of my YouTube. During my GCSEs it was just really hard because I was constantly going to the doctors asking for help, literally begging, to the point that I used to get so angry because in January 2018 social services withdrawed, CAMS withdrawed, and it should have never have happened to this day. Like, everyone's like, oh, that should have never happened. Then put it right. And people still haven't. And I know services are stretched, really stretched, and that's kind of the reasons why I want to go into the NHS myself. So during my GCSEs I was breaking down every day, I was crying constantly, I was just a panic state, and I was self-harming every day. And I also had a CAMS assessment towards the end of my GCSEs, like kind of across the month, and they were like, we're not putting you on your, like, we don't feel like you're suitable, so they shoved me back to the wellbeing, because like in April I also had an assessment at like wellbeing over the phone, and I was like, I can't do it over the phone, it's just literally impossible. They put me on a waiting list for the wellbeing. I didn't do their like webinar and exam stuff, so they just charged me, but they didn't tell me that if I didn't do it then they would just charge me. But to be honest, I don't feel like you should be forced into do something that you don't want to do. But okay. So then CAMS had an assessment with me, didn't work. They put me back onto wellbeing. Then wellbeing discharged me, but I was like, I never went back to them. Then I went back to the doctors again. I had an assessment at wellbeing that kind of got pushed forward, and when I had my assessment in wellbeing in August, okay, just literally okay, they were like, oh, we feel like you're best suited to CAMS. So it's been a constant battle. And then I had an assessment at CAMS in October last year, and I finally got put on the waiting list. However, during September and August, they were the worst months of that year. I was in a relationship that I thought was amazing. However, looking back, no, it wasn't. I was in an abusive relationship. I need to speak out about it. I feel like I need to be real with my subscribers. Kind of peer pressured into sending stuff that I didn't want to do. And I am a person that is very vulnerable, and I find it really hard to say no to things, so of course I did send them, and it took me forever and ever to finally say no. And I think that's what broke the relationship, is because I gave in, and I said I couldn't do this. Like, I would make up excuses, like it was obvious that I didn't want to do it. But I don't think anyone, boy or girl, should ever be peer pressured into doing stuff that they don't want to do. Like, I would make excuses and put it off for days, and the school's involved because I told Childline to tell the school because I just couldn't do it. I was told to go to the police, but I couldn't because I just didn't have the proof to do so. Like, because it's on Snapchat, anything can happen, and I was kind of scared that I was going to end up in trouble for it. And those are the months. During September I started sixth form, so it was a big thing, it was a big change, because in August I got my GCSEs results, and I was kind of disappointed in some of those as well. Went to A&E twice with intentions to end my own life. I had suicidal thoughts, I was self-harming as well. All of a sudden, between October and November, I stopped self-harming. And I think that was due to the fact that I kind of coped in a different way. which is a more unhealthy way, which was purging. I was purging every single day. This was more than once a day. It was literally after anything I ate, I would go to the bathroom, and it was just an awful cycle. And it got to November and I just stopped, and I went back to self-harming again. And I think the reasons why I have stopped self-harming at the moment is because I've kept myself busy, and in some ways my coping mechanisms are still really unhealthy, and I have started cancelling this like last Friday, so that is a good thing. So I did hope you did enjoy this video. I also just wanted to mention that throughout my time suffering with mental health, I used to contact Childline. I can still do that until I'm about 19. And I also now use the crisis text line by The Mind, which I will leave in the description, because I just feel like the anonymous chat line can be really useful. They reply within 5 minutes, but if you find it so much easier to talk on the phone, because I personally know that I cannot pick up the phone to anyone despite me knowing you, like I just can't do that. So if you do just need to talk to someone, then do reach out, because I don't want anyone of my subscribers suffering alone. Like, you're not alone. Like, I have gone from terror to being okay, and it just takes time, and it takes years and months and progress. Like, progress is a key, but the only person that can help you is yourself, really. So peace, and I'll see you all next week with a new video.